Hey guys, it's Brett. Thanks for stopping by my channel. So it's been a minute. We're also almost to the end of the month. So before I came on to talk about what I've read this month, and by the way, I'm so hopelessly behind on my what I wanted to be my TBR for this month. I don't know why, but I'm so incredibly well behind on that. So I'm going to be reading right up to the last minute to try to get as many of those books as I can read from that initial list. So that's the first thing. But I want to do a reading check-in, a Aspen Words check-in, a quick talk about the Women's Prize and the short list that just got announced today. So yeah, let's start talking. First off, okay, so the two books, I am going away this weekend, and so because of that, I won't be doing a wrap-up or what I hope to read in April until sometime next week. So in the meantime, the two books that I am taking with me on my trip, actually three, but the two physical books. The first is The Appeal by Janice Hallett, which I know a lot of you had spoken to me about when I said I had not read any of these, yet owned all of them. And a lot of people were like, you have to read it, it's so good. So this is my main thing, and I'm starting it today. So there's a good chance that if I power through, maybe I will finish this before I actually leave. The other physical copy book that I'm taking is Brother and Sister Enter the Forest by Richard Mirabella. So this is the other book. You know, it's so funny how you go through that thing where you see a book and people are talking about a book and you can't wait to get the book and you're like, I have to get the book, I have to get the book. And I get the book and then it just ends up sitting there and then you forget about it and then all of a sudden the next book is like, I have to get that book too. So I'm trying to change that. But in changing that, it also means that sometimes now I get books later that suddenly I'm pushing other books out that I intended to read. It's a really long way to say, Richard Mirabella, we have a date this weekend. So those two. And then the last thing that I'm going to try to read is Chain Gang All-Stars, which comes out May 2nd. And I've had for a while, and I'm hearing so many people talk about it. So I kind of want to get ahead of it before I've heard so many reviews and then I'm just disappointed. So that is what I'm reading. The other thing I wanted to highlight, I'm also still reading this too, which I'm really enjoying. Alejandro Varela's The People Who Report More Stress. I'd been saving it and kind of reading one story a day, but I got a little behind on that. So I still have like 4 more, but I'm going to try to finish this tomorrow if I can, because I don't want to take it with me, A, and B, there's no reason it should be taking me this long. They're really good stories. I'm really enjoying them. So there. The other thing I just finished, which just came out yesterday, the 25th, was that? Yes. Is TJ Klune's In the Lives of Puppets. I will talk much more about this in my wrap-up. Short version is, I loved it. And this was not on my TBR. But so anyway, I will talk more about that next week in my wrap-up. But put this on your list, people. Okay, so there is that. Last week was the Aspen Words Prize ceremony where they awarded, out of their 5 finalists, Hamil Hajana Kuchai. I know every time I'm saying that, I'm probably saying it wrong. The Haunting of Haji Hotak, which is completely merited, so worthy. I know in one of my earlier videos, I talked at length about this and how good it is. If you have not read this and are a fan of short stories that play with form, that are so smart, I would highly recommend this. Great book, and congratulations. And I will just say, for those of you who don't or haven't followed the Aspen Words Prize in the last few years, look for it next year, the long list, because I read that whole long list this year, and they pick really interesting stuff, and so much stuff that it, A, is not necessarily in the mainstream, stuff I never would have come across had I not been reading it. So would highly encourage that. Okay, so now on to the Women's Prize long list. So I guess I'll talk about out of the 6 books, 3 of them I own, 2 of which I've read. The first, and the kind of considered by many people to be the front runner for the award, is Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. Having not read 4 of these books, I can't speak to that completely right now, but what I can say is this is truly a phenomenal book. It's an updated version of David Copperfield, set in the Appalachians during it's still going, the opioid crisis. It's fantastic. It's epic. It's a chonker, but totally worth it. It also plays out really well on audio. If you're an audiophile person, I would suggest that as well.
Voice is not recognized.
The second book that I read that is on the short list is Maggie O'Farrell's The Marriage Portrait. This is the beautiful Goldsboro edition, which is so tightly slip-covered in here. It's wedged so deeply, I'm not even going to begin to try to take it out. I liked this book. I didn't love this book. I loved Hamnet so much. Like, Hamnet's one of my favorite books, and it would be a total go-to book and recommend it to everyone. I thought this was solid. Certainly it's extremely well written, but I didn't love it like some people did. So to me, this is neither here nor there on that list. The last book that I have, and a debut writer from the short list, is Trespasses by Louise Kennedy, another book that I couldn't wait to get my hands on, place it on my bookshelf, and let it sit there. So now this is a great reason for me to read it, because I am going to read, my intention is to read the rest of the books on the long list. Of the final 3, 2 other debuts, one of which, Fire Rush by Jacqueline Crook. This is the other book that seems to be getting an awful lot of amazing feedback, and I think a lot of people are saying between this and Demon Copperhead that it can be one of these 2 books to take the whole thing. The second book on this as a debut writer of this group is Black Butterflies by Priscilla Morris. I know nothing about this, but this is another one. I just put this and the next book that I'm going to talk about on hold at the library. The last one is Pod by Laylene Paul, and I'm hearing very mixed reviews on this one, but seeing as it somehow revolves around the sea and this one, I think a whale or whales, pod of whales. I feel like for me, this is going to be particularly interesting. So those are the 6 books. I'm so curious if any of you out there have read any of these, or all of them, or some of them, and your thoughts. And certainly I would love to know, between Jacqueline Crook's, Priscilla Morris, and Laylene Paul, if you've read any of those, what I should prioritize. So please let me know. So that's it for this very quick check-in. I hope everyone's doing great. Like I said, I will be back next week with my wrap-up of the month. I hope to finish off with like 10 or 11 books. We'll see. And then also, I've just started pulling through for things that I'm looking forward to reading in May. May is such a massive release month that if you guys were interested, maybe I'll do a, kind of some of the titles that I'm interested in coming out in the beginning of May, including, like I said before, not limited to the new Stephen McRowley book, this new Byron Lane book. So thanks again for stopping by, and I will see you all soon. Thanks.